It finished Liverpool 2, West Ham United 1 at Anfield this afternoon. Good evening, everybody, and welcome to the Bobby Moore Stand. I'm Gary, and he's Chris as usual, aren't you, Chris?
I think so. Yeah, last time I checked.
Yeah, I think you are. So I mean, it was a funny old game. We'll come to that in a second. We're going to do a couple of things tonight. We're going to do an exercise. But first thing is, we'll look at the game. We'll do some player ratings very quickly, and then I want to play a few of Potter's comments from after the game, and then look back at them and see what the people in the chat think. And I'm going to play devil's advocate, right? So just for the sake of it, right? Because it's what I do. So let us begin. By the way, before we start, if you haven't yet subscribed to the channel, the Bobby Moore Stand here on YouTube, please could you do that? Also, please give the video a like. Takes you fraction of a second to give the video a like. Leave us a comment as well. We try to respond to them wherever we can. And let's crack on with it. I can see from the mood of the people in the chat that it's a bit downbeat, actually, a bit downbeat. And look, to some degree, I know why, but let's go through the game. So first half. I mean, first of all, the selection, Chris. What did you think of the selection? He went with 5 at the back, with Ollie Scholes and Wan-Bissaka as wing backs. He went with Mavropanos, your favourite 15 to 20 million pound man, Todibo, Kilman in the middle, with a midfield made up of JWP, Paqueta, and Soler, and up front Kudus and Bowen. What did you think of that?
Yeah, I mean, I wasn't overly happy about the lineup. Not going to lie. I kind of expected that we would play 5 at the back. I said that to you the other day. I never kind of saw a version where we'd start 4 at the back.
Yeah.
In truth, I was a bit disappointed about starting Ollie Scholes because I felt that against Mo Salah, we would probably need and require someone with a bit more experience. Because that would ultimately be a target for Liverpool. You know, seeing a young kid at left back, you've got Mo Salah, who's in the form of his life, just signed a new contract. Probably wouldn't have done that.
Yeah.
I get the argument about playing kids in games. I quite want to see West Ham play young kids coming through. Of course I do. It's what we're about, right?
Yeah.
But I think there's a time and a place, and I think maybe today I wouldn't have done that. I would have probably played Emerson. From a midfield perspective, I mean, actually, I thought I wasn't happy with the lineup, but conversely, when I look back on the midfield, I don't think it was that bad today. I was a bit concerned by not having that kind of, linchpin in the middle of the park like an Alvarez that's going to be breaking stuff up. I thought that maybe we'd be a bit lightweight in midfield with Soler and obviously JWP.
Yeah.
In some respects, we were in the first half, but we'll come on to that in a minute. Up front, well, yeah, look, I mean, I wanted to see a start striker. Of course I did. But we didn't. We didn't for whatever reason that is. I don't know. So yeah, like not like overly optimistic when I saw that lineup. And you know that I messaged you. I said, what's his lineup all about? What did you think about it?
Well, the alarm bell was obviously Mavropanos. I was slightly different to you the other. Yeah, slightly different to you the other night because or the other night you said striker has to start. I said it depends on whether he's fit or not, to be honest. Because clearly he ain't, because I think he would be starting if he was fit, if he was fully fit. And the fact that he only came on for the last little while, that was either a reflection of how that second half went, or it was the fact that he needs to be eased back gradually. But anyway, look, we don't know the truth, so I'm not going to just assume that I'm right or you're right or whatever. Let's just go with it, right? It was a bit odd. It was a bit odd, but I was pleased to see a start from Soler in the middle instead of Souček, because he is more attack-minded. He's the most attack-minded apart from Paqueta, and he links up very well with Paqueta typically, doesn't he? And Ward-Prowse, you know why he's in it. It's for set pieces, isn't it? For ball retention, right? Because he can receive a pass with people around him. He very rarely loses possession. He doesn't do much going forward, but he rarely loses possession. So I can see the attraction in a possession-based side of having him in there. But let's just talk about the first half an hour, because this was a bit of a tough watch for the first half an hour. And I think what happened was, your assumption turned out to be right, that putting Scholes up against Salah was a bit of a mismatch. I do have a different point of view on this, because I mean, it is, at the end of the day, even though we want to see wonderful football and everything else, we also want to see the youngsters given a chance, don't we? We want to see them given minutes, and this to a large extent was a meaningless game, like they all are now. If we beat Southampton next week, we stay up. These are meaningless games, right? There was nothing riding on it at all. Are you ever going to get another game like that where you can blood a youngster like Scholes? So that would be my point of view. And I think he went through a little, how can I say, a metamorphosis in that game. He was, the first mistake he made was to let Salah cut inside, or outside, but cut inside and have a shot at goal. And that arguably should have been the first one. He was clearly still rattled like a minute later when he tried to make up for it by, if you try to go for the ball there, you've got to win the ball. And he ended up with Salah on goal side of him, completely in no man's land. There was only one outcome from that, because teams like Liverpool and players like Salah, they create a goal scoring opportunity from that, don't they?
Yeah, well, of course they do. I think he looked totally rattled today, to be fair. Like, I don't want to, I never ever want to jump on a young player's back, because no. It's so important to me to see, youngsters thrive and come through the system and play for West Ham. So I do understand what you're saying about blooding them in games that are potentially meaningless.
Yeah.
I kind of see it a bit both ways, because it's also about trying to protect them a little bit and ease them in slowly. I think with Scholes, okay, if he's ready, then, well, I mean, the question is, if he's completely ready, he'd be starting week in, week out. I don't think he's completely ready yet. He needs to be tested against better players. Totally get that. But against Liverpool today, as I said already, against Salah, against, arguably one of the best players in the world, I think that was always going to be that was going to be really difficult for him. And I think the occasion was too much for him. You could see it on his face and his body language. He looked like he kind of looked like he shouldn't have been there. Do you know what I mean? He kind of looked like that.
Well, to be honest, I thought he looked shaken up after those two mistakes, and then he made a third mistake shortly after, where again he got goal side. He let Salah goal side of him. Then after that, he tightened it right up. He seemed to get it together, and I was really pleased that he came out in the second half, and that he wasn't, he wasn't just, because that's the sort of time where you could just say, you're not having a good game, so I'm going to pull you off. Usually.
But that can be damaging. So I agree with you. It was good that he came out in the second half, but he had to be substituted for sure. That was the right thing to do. And, when I look back at what he did, Potter, I think it was absolutely spot on. Just putting Wan-Bissaka there, he's arguably one of the best one-to-one, defend fullbacks in the Premier League. Up against Salah. Salah was non-existent in the second half. That's not all down to Wan-Bissaka, by the way, but I just don't think we allowed Liverpool to get the ball to him so much in the second half. But I do think it was a real tough day for Scholes, and like I say, don't rule him out at all. I think
it was only half an hour though. It was only half an hour, and we had a real torrid half an hour, didn't we? It wasn't only Scholes diving in, by the way, because I think Kilman did it once and Todibo did it once as well, trying to win a ball that they've really got to win if they're going to go for that ball, right? And neither of them, covered themselves in glory there. So you've got to be more.
Kilman should have helped him out. Kilman should have helped him out. He
should have. Well.
He should have. That's not all on Scholes,
And
I think when you're talking about a defence, actually, I thought Todibo was a little bit
off. He
was all right, but he wasn't like his usual self for me.
No.
I thought Kilman, in terms of, particularly in the first half an hour, his distribution was piss poor. Every time he got the ball, he hoofed it forward and it was going to one of their players. Every single time he cleared it, it was hitting one of their players. That was the kind of story of our first half. It was.
I mean, the one upside all the way through this game was Kudus. He seemed to have the old fire in the belly again. Whether it was because it was a job interview for him or not, I don't know. But let's not assume that. He did play well all the way through, and then he started getting into the game more and more when Paqueta warmed up, because Paqueta, after going down holding his face twice, he suddenly got into the game after about 25-30 minutes, and that was really when it started to turn. Now, you might say that Liverpool took their foot off the gas, but I don't see they're doing that at 1-0, to be honest. I think you've got to give us some credit for getting ourselves forward and creating a couple of really decent opportunities. And you got to say that effort from Kudus, that lofted effort over the top of the keeper, how Alisson has got his fingers to that, I don't know. That's a class save. That was going in, wasn't it?
Oh, yeah, that was unbelievable. That would have been a cracking goal. But yeah, I mean, what can I say? I mean, I was pleased with today. I know a lot of fans aren't, but I was genuinely proud, particularly, obviously mainly from the second half and possibly the last 10 minutes of the first half.
Well, let's finish the first half first.
Yeah, go on.
Because just before half time, Mavropanos misses an absolute sitter.
Oh,
Fucking hell, he's the tallest bloke on the pitch, right? He's got a massive head, massive Greek head, big forehead, palatial. All he has to do is hit that fucking ball down. He's got a free header, and he heads it over the top. You cannot miss chances like that against a good team, because you will live to regret it.
It was a perfect height. He wasn't, it was an absolutely perfect height. It seemed to me that all we cared about was putting power on the header as opposed to placement or anything else. It was just a perfect opportunity. Yeah, he should absolutely be nailing that one. He should be scoring that for sure.
On the upside today, Wolves beat Spurs. On the downside, that sent us to fourth from bottom. But again, I'm not even bloody looking at the league. We ain't finishing fourth from bottom next year. This means nothing. This is like a couple of games at the end of the season that just mean nothing. We're going to finish on 40 points, 42 points or something like that. We might be above. We might be fourth from bottom, fifth from bottom. I don't care, But either way. Second half, no changes at half time, and I was surprised by that. And there was an early let off in the second half. It was a ridiculous handball from James Ward-Prowse, wasn't it?
Yeah, sorry. Can I just go back to one of those things you just said there about not caring about the league positions, right? Because you and I differ in this respect, right?
Yeah,
I know that the season's dead, and so ultimately we're not going to see ourselves in too much higher up the league, but I do feel as if we need to get results now, just for pride, and also just to give something back to the fans.
I agree with that, Chris. I agree with that completely, and I think we've got 6 games left where we genuinely. These are probably when I say easy, there's no easy games in the Premier League, but there are 2 of them that are easy. The easiest ones you'll get in the Premier League, which is away to Ipswich, at home to Southampton. You've got away to Man United, which we've been really good away from home. I fancy us there. We've got a home to Tottenham. They're shit at the moment, right? And then we've got away to Brighton, which is tough, but Potter knows Brighton, and we're good away. And then you've got one last one, Forest at home. And they got beat yesterday, didn't they?
Yeah, but you know what it's like, Gareth, that classic saying, games aren't won on paper, right? You can look at some of those teams and say, you know what, we should be expecting to beat some of those teams. But typically, West Ham being West Ham we tend to turn up and play well against the good teams and play crap against the lesser teams. That happens a lot. So you talk about, for instance, Southampton, right? They're done. Obviously, they're down. Look at Ipswich, obviously they're looking likely they'll go down as well. Of course they are. So funny enough, sometimes when those teams are in those positions, they've got nothing to play for as well. So they've got no fear. They just go out and they play. I mean, look at when we did United the title, all those years ago with Kenny Brown.
I know.
We already relegated and we beat United. I mean, sorry, we stopped United winning the league. So I think,
but we've got nothing like that. We've got nothing like that left in this season, right? There's 6 games against Ipswich are going to be dead and buried by then. Southampton are already dead and buried. All right, we can fight for pride and go above Spurs. That'd be a good one. Because they're not winning at all.
Yeah. No, I agree with you on that one. I think the Spurs are there for the taking. I'd be pretty happy if we finish above Spurs this season. Of course, I would. But I don't want to be in 17th place, Gal. I really don't. I know you were kind of like. I'm not going to get hung up on it. I'm not saying I want to finish there, Chris. Don't get me wrong. I'm just saying I don't care. Potter didn't make us go fourth from bottom. No, but finishing 17th place would be a reflection on also an incredibly poor last 6 odd games of the season that we've got left.
Oh yeah,
that's what So
100%. I agree with you there.
Me a lot. I want us to be finishing as high up as we possibly can do. So 17th is not really acceptable for me. For a team like West Ham with the players that we have, no, it's not. We need to be higher up.
Yeah, that's an interesting way of looking at it, and I do agree with that because I'll be expecting at least 3 wins from those final 6. Right, that's what I'll be expecting, whether it'll happen or not. But that's what I'll be expecting. Yeah. So let's look at the second half. No changes at the break. First 10 minutes, we sort of did okay after that ridiculous handball from James Ward-Prowse. What the hell was he doing? Looking away.
Oh, that wasn't his fault. That was accidental. He didn't even. I know it hit his hand, but I mean,
I know it was accidental, but his hand was in an unnatural position and all that shit. But the rules have changed again, so I haven't got a clue whether it's a penalty or not. But anyway, it
could have been given. I think what Carragher was saying on the telly was that if that was a European game, it would be given. I don't know whether that makes a difference.
Yeah, but Carragher's, if anything, he's a slightly biased Carragher, and he's got to be honest. So 57 minutes, Vlad came on for Skulls. AWB moves to left back. Immediately after, I thought that Arne Slot brought on 2 attacking left-sided players. So I thought, oh, hello, alarm bells are ringing. That's what it's like they're going to attack Vlad. But no, that didn't materialise. Almost immediately, Paqueta plays in Bowen. That was a great chance, I thought. A really great. Well, this is the one where Bowen centred it for Soler, who skied it. It went over the stand and out.
Yeah, I mean, it was coming at him quite quick, wasn't it? To be honest, I felt that I know when you look at it, you think, Christ almighty, how's it hit that high over the bar? But when it's flying in that fast, it's not always necessarily easy to hit the target like that. So I'll give him a pass on that one. He was in the right place at the right time, but I think the delivery was probably a little bit too much on it, in fairness to him.
Paqueta was cooking by this time, wasn't he? I mean, not every ball came off, but my God, he was playing delicious ball after delicious ball, wasn't he? And I was fucking lapping it up, sitting there watching it.
You saw my messages during the game. I thought he was exceptional today. I thought Paqueta was brilliant.
He really was. He really was. And then, there was another headed chance shortly after that. And the one where he played Bowen through and he hit it straight at Alisson. He needed to go low. Is it saving height for Alisson? You got to be honest. It was a bad finish. I
think he's tried to dink it over Alisson, but Alisson's just basically stretched himself, hasn't he?
He knows those tricks. He knows those tricks.
But then I looked at that chance he had there, Gal, and I think I said it to you in our chat that he could have squared that to Soufal. I mean, his awareness would have to have been spot on at that point, but Soufal was in acres of space. He was onside. He could have squared it, and he, in theory, could have scored. So maybe that's been a bit harsh. I don't know, but I suppose being Bowen, of course, he's going to want us to try and finish that opportunity, isn't he?
I didn't even see Soufal out there, but that was I wasn't paying enough close attention, was I? But look, I mean, we're definitely the better team up to the 75th minute in that second half, and I think there was a chance from Kudus who sort of span on the edge of the box. He was doing all sorts of stuff, especially with AWB. They were confusing the life out of that defence. And then on 78 minutes, Potter brings on Fulkrug and Guilherme. For Soler and Todibo. So they switched to 4 at the back. It was either a 4-4-2 or a 4-5-1. I can't make up my mind. But within about 5 minutes, within a couple of minutes, Kilman swings a ball in. And what a fantastic header from Fulkrug. So, I mean, that was, he literally positioned that in the only place Alisson couldn't save it.
I don't know how he did it, in truth, because the way that ball was coming in, the angle was coming in, he had to almost sort of step backwards and kind of, I don't know how he done it, but it was a very, very good header. And I thought it was so unlucky. So unlucky. I mean, it was just, oh man.
Alisson was like 2 foot away from that. There's no way he's saving it, right? If that was 6 inches lower or a couple of inches lower, it was a goal. If that had gone in, it's a goal, as my dad used to say, right? So there was a unique time wasting tactic that I've not seen for a while, and that was when Liverpool took the throw in and just threw it down the line, and it didn't go on the pitch, so that to take it again really slowly. And the West Ham players complained and everything. They were doing everything. The referee was helping them. He made us retake that free kick. He was doing all sorts, and he wasn't giving us anything really. I didn't think the referee. But having said that, he only booked one player throughout, and then. The funniest thing happened. I mean, Liverpool got a free kick when Van Dijk kneed Robertson in the head. Liverpool got a free kick.
Yeah, I know. What a joke that was.
Yeah. Which it just goes to show, doesn't it? This is what happens at Liverpool. And then the funniest thing in the world, I mean, literally two minutes after that, what was it? It was crossed in from Aaron Wan-Bissaka, a great little run. It was a ball from Paqueta again, a great little run from Aaron Wan-Bissaka. He centres it, and Van Dijk scores it off of Robertson, therefore giving Robertson the own goal. Robertson, just having had a knee in the head from Van Dijk, was doing his pieces, wasn't he? He was absolutely losing his shit. It was hilarious. So at this time, I'm jumping up because I didn't think we'd get anything Liverpool, and turned out we'd go on to not get anything Liverpool. But from that point on, Liverpool, that just gave them the ump, didn't it? We'd changed to a back 4. I think ultimately that's what cost us with the equaliser. That and Paqueta, he was nearly killed, obviously, by the player out on the line there, but he went down. Had he not gone down, he would have, perhaps that goal and that corner don't happen. The corner and the free header from Van Dijk, Chris, I think Todibo gets in front of that and he don't get a free header. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, first of all, going back to the move that led up to that goal, I was disappointed with Paqueta. I told you my thoughts on that, right? Yeah. I mean, I know that there was a bit of contact, but fucking hell, mate, that was soft, wasn't it? You could see him literally dive. He died for that. This is the problem I have with him sometimes, Gal, is that he was exceptional today. But when he has moments like that, it can cost us at times, because the old rule, right? You play to the whistle. And this guy does these things, a roll around on the fucking floor. There's nothing wrong with the guy. Just get up and get on with it. So that does annoy me.
Yeah, I know.
With regards to the actual goal itself, I mean, we've got to be defending better than that. We have to. You could say, Todibo gets to that, whatever. But I think Fulkrug had Van Dijk, didn't he? He was marking Van Dijk. But, I mean, Van Dijk has literally shoved Fulkrug. He's pushed him in the back, right?
It was a foul. It was a foul.
This is what I'm saying. And, you talk about the James Ward-Prowse fucking, penalty or handball, whatever it could have been, right?
Yeah.
I look at that, and the first thing I'm looking at is thinking, well, how the hell is that not a foul? Like, you're literally pushing a guy over. And we didn't, and it's funny because nothing was really said about it. Like, nothing was said about it.
Yeah.
I don't know, mate. I mean, that bothers me a lot, that does, because that's, for me...
Well, giving them the win, giving them the 3 points. There was another point that we should have had, just like that. It's just when it's just not destined to be. Like a Chelsea game where Palmer just scores from the biggest fluke you've ever seen. It just goes in the goal. It's just one of them, isn't it? We hit the bar twice. They get everything that goes anywhere near a goal. All right, they didn't get the handball, but then again, according to the rules, apparently it's not a handball. I don't know the rules clearly, right? So anyway, I think all in all, I was fucking delighted with that performance in the second half. I thought it was brilliant, and I enjoyed it as much as I did last week. What do you think?
I mean, well, for me, I enjoyed the second half more than I enjoyed last week, and that's weird because we didn't get anything out of the game. But I think in terms of our play, in terms of some of our better players, the likes of Kudus and Paqueta, I thought they were really on it today. So I was delighted with how we played in the second half. It's just a shame that we couldn't have played a bit more like that in the first half, because perhaps then maybe we would have got something out of the game. So it was. I came away with pride after that second half performance. I'm not going to lie.
Same here.
I really did. I thought the boys gave it their all. I thought there was some exceptional performances. I did.
Yeah.
I've already alluded to the two players in particular that I thought were really good. Also, Wan-Bissaka as well. I thought he was very good. I thought Areola was good when he needed to be as well. He pulled some good saves.
Yeah. Wan-Bissaka was excellent, actually, down the left. And, Lopetegui, that's the one thing that I agreed Lopetegui used to do. He used to switch him to the left. No one knows how to deal with him down the left.
He was good there. He's pretty versatile. We know that he can play both, and he does play inverted now as well, which is something he didn't do at United. But one thing that I suppose we almost forget is in the first sort of 15, 20 minutes of the game, he wasn't looking so great because Luis Diaz was getting in behind him every fucking time. And that was a worry. So consequently, you had Todibo basically covering him there, which I know he's supposed to as a right-sided back three centre-half, right? But still, even so, I was like, Jesus, like he's getting in there way too easy. I mean, Luis Diaz had a field day in the first 20 minutes of the game. So it was only until we started to kind of realise that he started playing better, I think. And when he switched over to left, it made much more sense. It did. The balance seems to be much better. It did.
He must be a fucking nightmare to try and mark when he's running at you, because he's two-footed. You don't know what way he's going to go. He's like a spider. He never loses a bloody ball, does he? He's always a limb coming out somewhere. So unorthodox, right?
He's better than I ever thought he was, Gal, in truth. I've seen him play many times, but obviously seen him playing on a consistent basis week in, week out. He's so much more of a better footballer than I ever thought he was.
And he's at his peak as well, like 27 going on 28. Yeah. He's at his peak. I mean, how did we get him for 16? That is great business by,
brilliant business.
Hate to say it, but by Salthouse. Yeah. But it was great business. It was great. Well, it's the one in the blue moon that comes off from Salthouse, right? Yeah. But it's not the thing that, right. So look, I think all in all, I feel quite satisfied. Don't feel satisfied being fourth from bottom, but I feel satisfied with the way we acquitted ourselves in that game. I thought every player pretty much did a decent job on there today. Anyone bad, do you think? Anyone have a bad game? Other than Skulls for 15 minutes, 20 minutes until he settled down again?
Yeah, I mean, I didn't think Ward-Prowse was particularly good today, particularly in the first half. I know a lot.
Second half, he was much improved, right? The first half, what he kept doing was when he didn't know what to do with the ball, he'd just poke it forward and we'd lose it. And that ain't the idea.
If I was to call out players, and not being overly pedantic here, but I would say probably James Ward-Prowse. I would probably say Kilman, Todibo could have played better. Overall, I'm talking.
I agree. I agree. Yeah.
Who else? Apart from that, no, I thought we were pretty solid.
Yeah.
I don't think anyone can walk away thinking, God, they were awful. I don't.
No, I don't think so either. So I think really, if we're going to do player ratings, there's a choice of a couple. I thought Bowen was all right. He missed the chance, but I thought he gave them. He worried them big time in the second half.
Yeah, Bowen. Only in the second half though. First half, he was anonymous. Scout. He was.
He was. Yeah.
And this. So I actually forgot about him, to be honest with you, because second half he was better. First half, I thought he was pretty crap. I'm not going to lie. But this is the problem with not playing a striker, because we have no focal point, right? I think you can see the difference it makes when you bring on Fulkrug. You need someone up there, like he did against Bournemouth the other week when he's holding the ball up, bringing other people into play. He's actually, and this is the thing. A lot of people are jumping on Fulkrug saying he's crap. He's not a crap player,
He's
as you've said so many times.
He's not crap.
No, mate, as you've said so many times, he's a German international. You're not going to be a German international if you're shite, right? He is genuinely a very good player. I think he's just been. I mean, his actual statistics are fucking amazing. They really are. For the amount of minutes he's played,
for us, the stats are just they're mind blowing. He literally always either gets like he's had a few like that where he's hit the bar, hit the post, something like that, or he's gone really close. Just a chance out of nothing that he's made, right? And he's had quite a few assists, and he scored like 3 goals, which is the same as Kudus.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, and he's barely played.
See, this is the thing, because I really wanted to see him start, and I can only imagine that he genuinely isn't fit, because you cannot be that dumb to play a striker that's fully fit. Right?
I'm watching all this negativity go through here, Chris, and Craven, I've got to say, I'm sick of fans accepting mediocrity. Well, nobody accepts anything.
Can I just ask that question, though? Do you genuinely think, based off that second half performance,
your second half was mediocre against the fucking league champions? Really?
Yeah.
Was it? I don't know.
We can say a mediocre season. Totally agree with that. But not often.
Season. A crap season. No one's dressing that up, right? No one's dressing that up. No one's pretending it was a great season, because it ain't been. It's been shit.
Yeah.
But that ain't Potter's fault, is it? And no one will ever set for mediocrity. I just hate comments like that, because it's just like you're saying you know what every fan's thinking, right? You don't. So anyway. Back to the thing. So that's let's talk about player ratings. So people in the chat, just a bit of relief before we start to talk about Potter for real. Let's because I'm going to play a few of his comments from after the game, and then we're going to talk about them, right? So let's quickly, Chris, go for the player ratings. Goalkeeper.
Yeah, goalkeeper.
Areola.
Not a fault for the goals, I don't think. I don't think he was. So I'd probably give him. I'd be inclined to give him. I don't know. He pulled off one very good save, didn't he?
Yeah. 7, 8, 7.
No, I'm not an 8. I'd say probably a 7. I'd probably say 7. Yeah, because strangely enough, actually, he didn't have loads to do, did he? In terms of saves, he didn't have any he didn't have loads and loads to do. Of the saves that he did pull off, a couple of them are very good. So I'd be giving him a 7. Yeah, I'd say. Yeah, no, absolutely. I'd go with that. And then you go right back, AWB. Well, you take that one.
Right back, stroke left back. Well, I thought he was outstanding in the second half. Like you said, I agree with you. A little bit ropey to start with, but I'm always a bit. I don't like criticising him at all for anything, do I? So I'll give him an 8.
Yeah, I think that's fair. I'd give him a 7.
I think he's most people's player of the year now, isn't he? He's most people's player of the year.
I think he's everyone's player of the year. If anyone can call anyone else out apart from him, I think, I'll be very surprised. I think he's absolutely camera of the year.
I think if we look back through these videos, you'll probably find I called it first, Not that I care about stuff like
that. Fuck, mate.
I care about stuff like this. Right, then we go for Todibo.
Todibo, I'll probably give him a 5 or a 6. I don't think he was great today. I thought he was a bit shaky in the first half.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll give him a 6. Yeah, I'll probably say a 6. Nothing more than that.
Yeah, I'll give him a 6. He was up against a good side, so I'll give him. You got to take that into account, and I'd say, and I agree with that. 6. I think he's there. A lot of people are going for 6s as well. There's a 5 there for him. There's a 7. And there's a 7. Oh no, AWB. Todibo 7, Todibo 6. It's largely 6. We go for one of his partners, Mavropanos. I didn't think he did too much wrong today, Chris. I thought he did all right, other than missing that bloody chance where I was just shouting, "You fucking!" Well, I won't tell you what I said. It was bad.
Yeah, well, you rate him then, because I just rated.
I will give Mavropanos a solid 6, just the same as Todibo.
Yeah,
because I think as a back three, they were a bit vulnerable when he was part of that back three.
See, here's the thing. I actually thought Mavropanos was better than Todibo.
You think he was a better? Yeah. All right.
I think he was. I'd give him a 6.5 if we did.
Right. Well, no, we do whole numbers. Let's do a 7, right? Let's do a 7 for Mavropanos. A rare 7. It'll up his value. It'd be worth 16.
For that fucking header. No. Yeah. For that glaring miss.
You're going to lose your bottle and downgrade him again. Is that what you're going to do?
No, I'm giving him higher than Todibo, but I don't.
6.5.
6.5 for me. Yeah, definitely. He's better than as kind of some. I think Cat's better. Yeah, Mav was better than usual. He was better than usual. Didn't make any mistakes. Right. The only mistake he made was at the other end. All
right, credit where it's due. 6.5. Kilman.
Oh God, he's a tough one, isn't he?
Listening to him talking after the game as well, he's not the most confident speaker.
No, he's very quiet, isn't he?
Yeah. I can see why.
Oh man, Kilman,
maybe.
It's a weird game today. I'm going to give him
like. It's a rare one here. Look at this. 8 for Mavropanos. Ernie Osborne.
I'd give Kilman a 6, mate. I thought Mavropanos was better than he was the best of the back 3, in my opinion. He was.
Yeah, I think a 6.
I can't believe I'm saying it. I can't believe I'm saying that.
He made a few good headers and stuff like that, Kilman. I thought he was all right. He wasn't brilliant, but he was up against a great side, and he's not going to shine up against the fucking league champions, is he? So yeah. And then poor Ollie Scholes. I think there's 2 ways to look at this, right? I think for everything apart from that 15-20 minutes where he lost his head, I'd give him away at Anfield a solid 7. But for that 20 minutes, I'd have to give him like a 4, right? So I don't want to mark him down too much because I think for most of the game he was all right, and so I'll give him I'm not going to give him a 4. I'll give him a 5. That's low, isn't it?
It's low, and I wouldn't give him any lower than that. Maybe I'm being slightly biased here because he's one of our own. He's come through the system, and
that was a brand new experience for him, wasn't it? Running out at Anfield today, it really was. It really was.
I must. The one thing I have kind of figured out with Scholes though is he does appear to be quite slow, Gal, which worries me a bit. He does.
I don't think so. You know, I don't think so. I think he's not slow. It's just sometimes he's up against a whippet. Right.
Well, he's going to be up against wickets a lot of the time in the Premier League because that's what it's all about. His pace, mate. He's looking.
But I don't think he's slow. I think he's actually quite pacey. It's just that when he's up against one of the fastest ones, like Salah, because he's shit off a shovel, Salah, right? And plus he's got to learn that you don't let a player like that goal side of you. And he started doing that. I mean, I was just shouting at the telly, for God's sake, just stop that, stop committing. And it wasn't just him; it was the other 2 as well, right? So I expect what Cresswell does when Scholes plays to babysit Scholes a little bit, and he got no babysitting today. He was out there at Anfield against the league champions elect, and he had to cope on his own, and he had to get his own head together, and he did. So I was quite proud of him with that.
Yeah, I felt for him as well, actually. I mean, Kilman really is one of the senior pros right next to me. Should have helped him out a bit more.
You're going to give him a 4. He's going to give him a 4. Really. Make West Ham great again. Give him a 4. Yeah, there's got to be a bit of tolerance with the youngsters, I'm afraid. There's got to be.
Yeah, I think so. I think I'm a bit surprised, actually, with Kilman talking about him supporting Scholes. It's because, I mean, he was the Wolves captain. I just don't see him as captain material. I mean, maybe it's because of the lack of, I don't know, he just doesn't seem to be overly vocal and, I don't know, communicative with the back. I don't see it. So, yeah, it was a bit disappointing to see that he kind of left Scholes to his own devices a little bit. He wasn't really helping him out today, which was evident in the first goal,
Yeah, well, you talk about Gravestone legs, Cresswell. I think he's been playing as a centre-back and he's been injured. When he was playing as a centre-back next to Scholes, he was really helping him. Because he knows where Scholes should be positioned because he was a good fullback in his day, wasn't he? And so he was giving him advice, and I suppose he's not going to get the same quality of advice, fullback advice from Kilman, is he? Going to midfield, so let's start with James Ward-Prowse. James Ward-Prowse, people, what do you give James Ward-Prowse?
God, James Ward-Prowse.
It was 2 different halves. A game of 2 halves for him.
It was. I mean, he weren't amazing in the second half either. No. I can't give him any more than a 6. I'm kind of inclined to give him a 5.5. I don't know. For me, he's just
5.5 might be fair, but I think he frustrated me in the first half. It has to be said. He frustrated me in the first half.
Did you see there was one particular moment in the first half, Gal, when he came chasing for the ball and he got done massively. I was like, what the fuck is that? Like, seriously.
Also, there's a couple of times, Chris, like second half where he went and he won that ball cleanly and McAllister just dived on the floor like a little baby. Holding his leg and got the free kick.
No, but he went in the middle of him, though. To be fair, that was a free. I know which one.
Nothing wrong with it. Nothing wrong with it.
It was a free kick, Gal. Come on, it was a free kick.
Play acting, Chris. Play acting.
He got the ball, but he's in between his legs, and he's still coming in behind. And
nothing wrong with that, Chris. Nothing wrong.
Oh, shut up.
Perfectly clean.
It was a free kick.
It was a demonstration of it was from the top drawer of tackling. That was so a lot of 7s, a lot of 6s. I'm inclined to give him a 6. I don't think it was bad. I don't think it was bad, Ward-Prowse. I thought he was a bit. He was a bit kind of ordinary first half, Chris. But I don't think he did anything particularly terrible, did he?
We didn't do anything particularly good either.
No, exactly. So that would be like a 5, and then the second half, he was actually pretty good. So I'd give him an extra point just for the second half. 5.5.
Well, yeah, let's meet halfway. I'd give him a 5, mate, but yeah, let's meet halfway.
Yeah,
Let's agree to disagree. Give him 5.
5.5 it is. Let's go Soler. Let me take Soler because I was really impressed with Soler today. I think he's a forward-looking attacking midfield player who slots in really well with Paqueta. They've got a good understanding, him and Paqueta. They're on the same wavelength. You can see they've played with, well, they are both elite level players. At least he was in his day. He was a Spanish captain, right? And so you know, he can do it, and he's been out for quite a while now. I think since February he's been largely injured, Soler, and this is the first game that he's been kind of fit to start since February. So this is why we've seen a lot of Souček. Why, I mean, the unexplained one is Alvarez, right? We don't know what's happened there, but I'd say with Soler, I'd give him, especially second half when we started getting forward. He was at the heart of a lot of those moves. I'll give him a 7.
Yeah, I mean, first half pretty anonymous as
was West Ham's attack, right?
Yeah,
Until the end of the first half. Yeah,
I think in the second half he came good. I think actually probably one of his best moments was just before he got substituted, where he went on some kind of a bombing roll right through the midfield and kind of, you know. So I thought he looked good today actually. Yeah. Overall, based in comparison to some of the other midfielders, particularly JWP, he was better than him. So if you give JWP a 5.5, I'd probably give Soler a 6.5. I thought he was all right. See, here's the thing, right? So I actually understand, and I said this to you beforehand. I understand why we maybe didn't play Souček today. Totally get it, because I think you need to have technically gifted players in the middle of the park.
For sure,
JWP is much more. I mean, he's much more of a better passer of the ball than Souček is. I mean, Christ, you are, to be fair. And also Soler as well, you know. So I understand why he's got more. I understand why he's got more technical players in there today. I do. I just felt that we lacked that bite for me, and that was kind of, you know, where I felt maybe Alvarez was missing, and I would have rather had Alvarez in there than JWP and have Soler and Paqueta in front of him. That's what I would have preferred today, you know.
Yeah. No, I agree with you. Lucas Paqueta.
I thought he was exceptional today. Really good.
After the first 20 minutes, 25 minutes.
Yeah, I mean, I would give Paqueta probably an 8.5, maybe a 9 or something like that.
Let's just pick up on this comment here that JWP is not technically gifted. He actually is. I mean, he's not an attacking midfielder. He ain't the kind of player you want to see play, but he can receive the ball in tight areas. He never gives the ball away, right? He never just gives it to the opposition. That's why he's in there, because we're playing a possession game. I don't particularly want to see him in there. I'm not really his biggest fan.
That point, right? To clarify that point, I'm not saying that JW is technically gifted. What I'm saying is he's more technical than Souček, all right? And that's that I'm sorry, you cannot argue against that. Of course he is. He's much more of a technical player than Souček.
That's why I'm poles apart. They are poles apart as players. You know, poles apart and completely different players. That's why I didn't get when people used to pair them up, you know, and talk about if they were the same thing. They're not.
Totally different players.
You know, Paqueta 8. I'd give Paqueta, based on that performance, I'd give him an 8 for sure. He was
excellent, man, today.
He really was.
There were moments in that game where
it was like, 9, you know, tempted to give him a 9 because I loved watching him.
Yeah, I did as well. Every time he got the ball, it's like I felt like something would happen. I mean, he was trying to pull off those kind of wonder balls every now and again, and some of the passes were, you know, really, I mean, very, very good. I felt that, you know, there was moments of skill that he was doing as well that was nice to see, and he was kind of he was really good today. I can't.
He was focused. You could see it on his face, Chris. He was focused today. He wasn't even giving it all the smiles and everything else. He was properly focused.
Yeah, I mean, I'll give him an 8.5. Probably would have given him a 9 if he weren't doing those stupid fucking dives that always wind me up.
No, you're right. We'll take a half a point off for contributing to that winning goal. But he entertained me today, and I love Paqueta when he entertains me. He's properly good.
Well, let's be honest. With Paqueta, if Paqueta won on that pitch today, I think we'd have lacked creativity. That would have been all of our creativity gone. That would have been. Yeah. Because he was also a conduit with you know, Kudus as well. So I thought he was the one player that could have made something happen.
If JWP passes backwards 9 times out of 10, well, the thing is, right, we're playing a possession game, and if there's nothing on forwards, he will pass back or sideways because there's nowhere else to go. That's a possession game. Otherwise, you're giving the ball away, which is what we used to do, right? So that's just got to be accepted as part of a possession game, because if it ain't him doing it, it's going to be someone else.
I know what he means, though, Gal. I do understand
so do I. He's a limited player, right? He's not getting away from it. He's got no attacking flair at all. But at one point in that second half, do you remember when we were, I think Paqueta had it, and he passed it out wide on the left-hand side of Liverpool's box, and it ended up going all the way back to our centre-halves and then back again. Right. Yeah. So that sort of stuff is going to happen, because it's a conscious choice between giving the ball away or just making a dive forward when there's nothing on.
I get that, but I get that when you're playing against Liverpool, because you want to kind of keep hold of the ball as much as you possibly can do. But when we're playing that's the team, as JWP still does that, it's played backwards, sideways, and it drives me crazy. You don't really see any kind of forward-thinking passes from James Ward-Prowse. You never really do, and that's a real shame. That is a shame.
There's a lot of people saying man of the match Paqueta, and a few outraged by that fault. I would give personally Kudus the man of the match today. I'd give him a 9. How about you?
Oh, mate, he was brilliant. I mean, first 25 minutes, nothing in truth. Yeah. But again, like most of the players, he wasn't really getting a whole heap of the ball. But I think he was almost a bit like a man possessed. I think physically he was excellent today. I mean, he was really giving him a proper physical battle. And there was one moment in the second half, and I think he had about 4 or 5 players around him on the edge of the Liverpool area. He was determined not to lose that ball. I thought he was really, really good today. It was actually so refreshing to see him back on his game like that, because I've not seen that type of physical performance from Kudus for quite some time, actually. Probably Arsenal was the last time he played like that. So, I mean, it's a real hard choice and toss up between Paqueta and Kudus for man of the match. I thought he was really good today.
Yes,
really good.
It definitely been my man of the match. I mean, it's a tough one, but I thought that little bit of that cute little shot, that instinctive little shot from Kudus as well, was so good. It was so good. That kind of said to me that Kudus, because that was going in, that says to me that Kudus is on his way back, finding, he would have found the net there. He would have found the goal.
Why is it, right? Why is it? Is this a pure coincidence that he seems to play well against Arsenal and Liverpool, 2 teams that have been linked with him? I want to see him doing that against Southampton next weekend as well, right? I want to see him doing this on a more consistent basis, because that's been the problem from this season. He has the odd really, really good performance, and suddenly he goes missing for 3 or 4 games.
Correct. And he could have been doing that because he was at Liverpool. But then again, last time we were at Liverpool, I think we got stuffed 5-0 earlier in the season. It was, wasn't it? No. It was the League Cup. We got beat 5-1, didn't we? 5-1. And you were there, weren't you? And then we got beat 5-0 at home by them. Then we got trounced, absolutely battered twice by this side. And last time they were pretty profligate in front of goal, because you remember, Salah missed a couple of chances before they went 1-0 up after about 5 minutes, and they still beat us 5-0 at home, right? It's just outrageous how we didn't compete, and I think we did compete today. So Bowen, finally.
Bowen for me, 6.5.
6.5. Yeah. I'd agree with that. He was largely absent in the first half. He's got to get a bit more consistency about him, Bowen. I think the captaincy is weighed heavy on his arm this year, because it's a damn big trial, isn't it? The first season that you're captain, it all turns to crap like this, right? You got Lopetegui, fucking chaos. I mean, it must be a real next season. Hopefully, if things are a little bit more stable, he'll have a completely different experience as captain, won't he?
Well, I hope so. I'll go back on what I've said so many times. I don't think he was the right choice for captain, but then it's not him. But I mean, you hope that
now he is. Now he is a captain, though. He is a captain, right? And
he is. But I don't know. Was he captain by default with the fact that he's probably one of the longest?
Lopetegui.
What was the reason for him being captain?
Lopetegui made him club captain. He just did it.
Yeah, well, I'd like to understand what the criteria is based. What he's measuring on to be captain.
I think you'd have to have a real big reason, because we've actually played well with him as a captain. We've played terribly with him as a captain. I think when you get to our level in the Premier League, you don't need someone G'ing you up. I don't really like having a captain who's all the way up the pitch or on the wing. I don't. I do like him. I prefer him in the middle. Yeah, but every player in our team should be a captain. And the centre-half should be organising themselves without the help of a captain. The midfield should be organising themselves without the help of a captain. And you bear in mind, like, Ward-Prowse was the captain of his old side, right? There's a few players who have done that role. When Tuchel plays, he's captained us before. I think so has Alvarez, not that he gets a look in now. Right, who came on as sub? So we had Füllkrug, obviously, not Halfkrug, Füllkrug. What did you give him?
Again, I mean, he was very effective, wasn't he, when he came on? I actually felt that he should have come on for Bowen. In
It's
fairness,
interesting from
Bowen
Trudge there.
started to play a little bit better.
Yeah.
I actually think, right, going back to this whole captaincy thing before we talk about substitutes, right, I do sometimes feel that maybe you underestimate, not just you, but just in general, we underestimate how important it is to have a good captain at West Ham. I think it really is, and
I don't underestimate it. Yeah,
I'm not saying that's the key reason why we haven't performed this season. Of course, it's not. There's a whole lot of reasons why we've not been good this season. But I do think that having a proper captain in there that's really going to rally the troops, I think we've really missed that. And I'm not blaming or digging up Bowen for this, but I just don't know if we've got the right character in our team to actually be that type of individual, to be that type of captain. You can say you can get a captain in that leads by example and by his performances and things like that. But then, fuck me, if that's the case, then loads of players. Then you could say that everyone should be captain if they're playing well. Do you know what I mean? I don't. Yeah. I just feel that is something we've got wrong this year. I'd love Bowen to be a great captain, but I just don't think it's in his DNA to be a captain and a leader. I just don't. I don't think he is. I don't.
Now, by the way, I'm really pleased about Fulkrug because I know I've been singing his praises since he came in. Just not singing his praises, but I've been saying, look, he ain't shit. He plays for Germany. He's not shit. And people really rate him. He was in Champions League final last year. The geezer's not shit. People have suddenly realised that he ain't shit, which is great. It's fantastic for him.
When I was at the Wolves game the other week, right, there was a bunch of fellas standing behind me and they were all slagging Fulkrug off, saying how shit he is, right? Oh, he's absolute pile of dog shit, blah, blah. I'm like, what on what basis are you judging?
Some of our fans, honestly,
I don't get that. I just don't get that. I mean, yes, he wasn't the striker that we wanted. But you know what? If you look at him again, based, and I think Kat in the chat, she put some statistics up there the other day and said that he is actually, if you look at it based on the amount of minutes he's played, one of our most effective players. He's been very, very impressive, and he's been injured, right? So if you gave him a run of 10 games, then start judging the guy, but he's not even had a run of 5 games, let alone 10 games.
Well, that was like a little substitute appearance straight back from injury against Wolves. Why would you get on the geezer? Not that it bothers him. He's a grown up. It don't bother him. I'd be more worried if it was against a youngster. I was saying, it ain't going to bother him, is he? If you think, fuck you.
What I like about Fulkrug, though, he's physical. He's dominant in the air. He's a real handful for the centre halves, and he can bring in other players into play. So for me, he's kind of got a lot of the ingredients that we've been missing this season. Since Antonio's been out, that physicality up front, we've not had that. We won't get it with Danny Ings. You're not going to. Obviously, what other options do we have? Bowen. Well, we're going to get it with Bowen either.
I think Trudge is right. This comment here from Trudge is bang on. He's super intelligent as well. He really is. Now, he's not fast and he's not going to score goals from 40 yards or overhead kicks and shit like that, right? He ain't. He's going to be a functional bread and butter striker who's going to create chances for others, bring people into play, and when he gets a chance, more often than not, he's going to put it away, right?
I think so. Yeah, he's. I mean, I'm feeling more and more confident when he comes on. When he plays, definitely.
Yeah, we don't. You're right, Mike. We don't know if Ferguson is shit. It's just an assumption. It's based on the evidence so far. He's missed 2 absolute sitters, but he made the runs for those absolute sitters. But then after he missed them, he just went missing. I mean, that game against Wolves was terrible. Terrible.
It's a really weird situation with Ferguson because how many months has he been here now? Is it 3 months he's been at West Ham, right? So when he came to West Ham, people were saying that he was unfit, but he was just back from injury and he had played for Brighton the following week, right? The week prior, sorry. So the fact that he's still not starting games now, okay, so let's say, for instance, we didn't start Fulkrug because he's maybe not quite ready yet. How the fuck is Ferguson not ready to start games? 3 months, right? He has been fit for 3 months. So surely he would have built up some element of fitness that would, enable him to start a bloody game for West Ham.
Yeah.
He must, I'm not saying he's shit, but he must.
What? Is he frozen? Is he frozen or is it me?
No, I think it did for a second, mate.
Yeah,
but he can't be the player that he probably thought he had at Brighton. Maybe he's just completely, I don't know, he's just gone downhill since then.
Yeah.
Something ain't right there, mate. It's not.
I'm just looking. Did Man United get stuffed today?
Yeah, they did. They lost 4-1 to Newcastle.
Oh, it's tragic, isn't it? It's tragic. But Amorim is going to be on the first plane back to Belgium at this rate, isn't he?
Mate, Belgium,
what, right? Is it Belgium? Well, no, Portugal.
I actually think he likes Belgium. It's a poison chalice, though, the United job. Everyone knows it is. And I think the squad that he has there, I'm not being funny. I don't know if there's too many players in the United squad that I'd swap with many of ours. Honestly,
no.
I think they're a poor thing. They are.
The last manager, you know, the one who's a bit deranged. Ten Hag, 11. You know, he was very, very highly rated in Europe, young manager, just like Amorim. But you're right. There's too much player power there. Always has been. But this is not a Man United podcast, Chris. You know.
Well, right, mate.
I only have to say one thing, Ryan. Bodger straight right up a drain pipe. Portugal. Yeah, I know. Thank you, Bodger. Yes. And how many players? Well, include me in that. I wanted Amorim as well, but I was more than happy with pass. So I'm still Amorim.
Yeah, by the way, I don't necessarily think that he's going to be a bad manager. I think it's going to take time for anyone going into that United job.
Yeah, I think if they give him time, that's the thing. Will they give him time? Because the big thing with Man United is it's all about Champions League qualification. And I think Louis van Gaal, for instance, he won the FA Cup, but didn't qualify for Champions League, and they bombed him out.
Yeah, but I think the team, you've got to kind of, it's relative to the team that he has. And I think the team that he has is fucking poor. You know, he's probably only got 2 or 3 very good players in that team. The rest are pretty bang on average. They are.
Yeah.
They've got no good strikers. They've got, you said it's not a Man United podcast, but really only Bruno Fernandes and probably, I don't know, one other. I don't know, Kobe Minu. I don't know, that's about it.
It's unfair to score Füllkrug, isn't it? He was only on for like 10, 15 minutes. I mean, you give him I'd probably give him a 7 for the time he was on. Guilherme, I thought, was busy. And at the end of the game, had 2 defenders on him from Liverpool. So that was quite a compliment.
Yeah, he played on the right, wasn't he? Yeah, no, he done okay. He done okay. You could see a bit of his pace today, couldn't you, when he was up against the fullback? He done all right.
Yeah, quite liked it. I'll give him a 6. I'll give him a charitable 6, Guilherme, and a 7 for, or 6.5 for the other bloke.
Füllkrug.
Who else came on? Other than Füllkrug and Guilherme? Oh, Vlad. I'd give Vlad a 7. I thought he did well.
Yeah, he done all right. Yeah, he made no mistakes, did he? So he was pretty decent today. I thought, yeah.
But he's starting to look like a player now. I mean, he's nowhere near ready to start. I don't think he should ever do what he did the other week and play him away in a very tough physical game, Guilherme. But you know,
I'd give him a run against Southampton, though, mate. That's for sure.
I'll do that. Yeah. I would, because they are a championship side, basically, aren't they? Yeah. But what has Down done this year? Has he covered himself in misery?
I think he's been injured, actually. I think he's injured at the moment.
Really?
Yeah.
Right. So, look, that is the player ratings. We're going to move on to Potter now. Before we do, I'm going to play you, I'm going to brighten it and going to cheer you up a little bit, right? I'm going to cheer you up a little bit. I'm going to play you a 30-second video. 30-second video, because we had complaints from CBBS last week about some abuse that Chris gave out, and it was just unacceptable, Chris. So, look, this is what happened.
Nowadays, you go to a game, and I remember near the beginning of the season, you've got a fucking Peppa Pig walking on the pitch. Do you know what I mean? I went to the club shop yesterday, went in there, and they've got loads of Peppa Pig merchandise in there. Have you seen? I couldn't believe it. I said, what the fuck?
What have you got against Peppa Pig, for fuck's sake, Chris?
I'm not having it, mate.
I'm Peppa Pig.
Daddy Pig. She's actually pregnant, Mummy Pig now. You know that. Mummy Pig is pregnant by Daddy Pig. They've been getting up to no good.
We're having another baby.
Anyway, Chris, I hope you've apologised to CBeebies for your outburst.
I'm sticking with it. It was a very, very creative clip from you. Very good. Very good. I'm not having it, mate. Like I said the other day, I'm not having all this fucking Peppa Pig merchandise. I'm not having Peppa Pig stepping on the pitch. I don't even know why I didn't even bring this up first, because it's right at the beginning of the season when Peppa Pig came through the tunnel. I was like, what?
Are you doing it again?
What's she doing here?
Don't make me make part 2.
But no, come on, though. What has football come to when Peppa Pig comes walking out the fucking tunnel before the game? This for me typifies where football's going wrong here. You know, it's all about fucking money, isn't it? Do you know what? You stick Peppa Pig's fucking name on a West Ham flag on a mug or whatever and sell it in the club shop. No, fuck off, Peppa Pig. Got nothing to do with West Ham. Don't want anything to do. Don't want to see you in the club shop, let alone on the pitch.
I'm sorry. Any parents with children who happen to be watching this, I can only apologise for this foul-mouthed outburst by my colleague Chris. You know, it's not good. It's not good, Chris. Right, I'm gonna now fire up Harry Potter.
I can't believe you brought that flip. I can't believe you put that on there.
I'm going to fire up Harry Potter. So we're going to listen to a few of his comments after the game. Not all of them, just a few. The ones I think are pertinent, and then we'll stop and have a little chat about it. Yeah. So, share screen, window. God, which one is it? This one. And we want to do sound. Yes, we do. Yes, we do. This should work. Oh my God. Come on. There we go. There we go. Share. And play.
Is he talking or is it on silent there, Gal? Gal, it's on silent.
Oh my God, you can't hear it. Well, that was bloody pointless then, wasn't it? Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for letting me know. I'm going to stop sharing it and I'm going to share it.
To be fair, I was lip reading that.
Hold on. Here we go. Here we go. I'll do it again. I'll do it again. Share screen. Right. It's a Google file. Right. Okay. Window. It's this one. To share sound, share a tab or share a tab. Oh, right. Okay. You can only share a tab. Bloody hell. They've got different rules in every bit of software. Yeah. Right. Okay. I'm going to start again, people.
Go back and hit the bar late on. You're encouraged by the fact that these players are really working for each other now, and getting that. It's those fine margins again, isn't it? As we've referenced a few times.
Yeah, absolutely. And we've been competitive in all the games.
Yeah, hang on, mate.
You can hear it, can't you?
No, there's nothing there. But this comment's brilliant. Potter and the Chamber of Silence.
Not until.
Does people prefer to hear him with no?
Hang on there, Gal. Get rid of it.
Fuck it. Anyway, look. In summary, I'll fix that for next week. I'll bring it in for a video. Sorry, it's like every time we use something, a new platform, something different happens. So I do have a direction. I haven't found out which way it is yet, but I do have a direction. Right, put us back on full screen, Chris, because I can't see it. Right. So there we go. So what he said that was pertinent there is they were saying to him his favourite, the guy from the club who does all the friendly interviews, who we used to have a go when Moyes was interviewed by him, giving his soft soap interviews, right? He said to him, well, it's been a while because Solaire's been out since February. Fulcrew's just making his way back. It's been a bit of a struggle, but you must be quite pleased with it. And he said, well, yeah. He said, we've competed in pretty much every game apart from 2 first halves, which was the Wolves first half and was the Brentford first half. And so I think that's the first question, right? That's the first question. I heard it. The silence. The silence was better. Right. Oh, you could hear it. You could hear it.
No one could hear anything.
Whatever. Right. I'll sort it out for next time. Right. But anyway, you don't want to hear it next time. There'll be nothing to hear next time. So and when you look back at these games, right? Look back at these games. So he said, just to clarify, there was 2 games that he thinks we didn't compete properly. And that was first half against Wolves and the first half against Brentford. Now, I would say that's probably true. Villa, we competed. Fulham, we competed. Palace, we did compete. It was a fuck up by Soler, isn't it?
One half.
That should have been a draw, that game, right? We fell apart after half time. It was 0-0. It should have been a draw. We competed, though. Villa,
I would disagree. I'll say one half.
Villa, we should have won. Chelsea away, we should have at least got a point. We definitely competed. Brentford at home, I agree with that. First half, we were awful. Arsenal, we definitely competed and beat them. Leicester, we didn't really have to compete. They were rubbish, but we did. Newcastle at home, I mean, we competed. We got beat 1-0, but it was a good team we lost to, wasn't it? It was a good team. Everton, we definitely competed there. Wolves, yeah, that was terrible. That's the one that we got really upset about. It was terrible. I mean, we did better in the second half, but it still wasn't good.
No,
right?
we were shit.
No, we were crap. No, compared first half, second half, we did better in the second half, but it was still rubbish, right? So that's why we had the ump and we laid into them last week. Yeah, that's why we laid into them. Bournemouth, I thought second half was good. First half, not so good. Today, I think from 30 minutes onwards, because we ended the first half really strong. Second half was very strong. So I think when you look at that, you could probably say, you're saying Palace, maybe you disagree with, he's played 12 games. He's played 12 league games, and those games included Liverpool, Villa, Chelsea, and Arsenal, who are sort of up the top competing Champions League. Bournemouth, Fulham, who are informed teams. Palace, who are always trouble for us at home, as are Brentford. Everton away, which is a Moyes team, which is tough, and Wolves. Right now, I know there's no easy games in the Premier League, but in those 12 games, we had a lot of tough ones, right?
Yeah, right. Okay. So my opinion on this
Yeah.
is yes, we have competed in spells during those games, but spells, and that's the problem, yeah, because
Mm.
a game's not won over 45 minutes, it's fucking 90 minutes. So I know what you're saying. Yes, we have competed in some of those games, but it's too little too late. We need to be consistently competing for fucking 90 minutes, or at least not 90 minutes, 80 minutes, 70 minutes, not fucking 45 minutes, because that seems to be the consistent trend under Potter. Like, for instance, today, you know, I know we're playing Liverpool, first 45 minutes, you know, it's drop back deep, whatever, right? Trying to contain the threat. And I get the mindset you're thinking, right, try and go in at half time, I don't know, 1-0, 0-0, and then go out second half and try and wear them down a little bit, right? Whatever it is, and try and, you know, get some, I don't know, get some chances and whatever. But it's like that against every team.
Yeah.
It is like that against every team. And I know what I've heard Potter in his interview, and he's talking about trying to get the balance right between defending and attacking. That's something that we really do need to figure out, because at the moment, there isn't a balance apart from what I've seen today in the second half. There was more of a balance. Attacking, we looked a lot better second half today than we have for a long, long time.
Do you think that it's fair that fans out there are, and listen, people can say what they like and think what they like. I ain't going to tell you what to do. I'm not preaching. If you want him out, fine. I know you don't. But is it fair that, do you think it's fair for fans to have judged him already and say, I've made up my mind, he's crap, he's got to go?
I think all fans are entitled to an opinion, definitely. Yeah. So if they think that, then that's completely up to them. But I also feel, from my perspective and trying to look at this almost objectively, I still feel that he needs to be given time. As I said to you the other day, for me, my point of where I'm going to say, right, he's either Potter in or out, it's probably after the first 5 or 6 games of the new season.
Yeah, I mean, listen,
that's my kind of.
Oh, statements that end him laugh my ass off often make me laugh because, you know, if you look at Potter's record, he's got, so far, he's won 3 out of 12. He's drawn 3, he's lost 6, right? So he's lost 50% of them. 4-12 against 15, -3 goal difference, 12 points. 25% win rate at the moment. If he beats Southampton next week, which he will, say 2-0, it'll be played 13, won 4, drawn 3, lost 6, and we'll be on a -1 goal difference or something. So he'll be on a 30.7% win rate, which puts him above Lopetegui, but he's way above Lopetegui on goal difference anyway, because he left us on a -15 goal difference, Lopetegui. Right, -15. We conceded 5 goals 3 times. We conceded a couple of 4s and a whole load of 3s. We got battered a lot. Now, I know there were games, there was 1 or 2 where we were all right, but more often than not, even the ones that we got a half decent result out of, we kind of didn't deserve it. It was weird.
Oh, we shithoused the win. Yeah, we shithoused the result. No, I agree with you. I mean, you can definitely say that Potter has helped from a defensive point of view, but like I said before, it's almost to the detriment of actually sacrificing our attack. That's what's happened, right? So,
but would you be happy then today? So let's go back to Wolves, or let's go back to Bournemouth last week, where we drew 2-2, and today we just about got beat 2-1, and we got beat narrowly 1-0 against Wolves. Spurs went up there and did an Ange and got beat 4-2, right? And Spurs, I'll tell you, they're getting absolutely fucked off with Ange because he just pushes forward recklessly and doesn't know how to defend, right?
Yeah, but now, I'm not saying do that. Though,
my dream. That's Lopetegui, right? That is what Lopetegui was doing.
Well, he wasn't though. Lopetegui wasn't doing that, Gal. I mean, because when you think he wasn't going fucking gung ho like Ange, there's no way he was. No, he
wasn't, because there was no organisation. I mean, now what we're seeing in the last couple of games, we're seeing a little bit of cohesive, whatever it is, the word. They were a bit more joined up top of the pitch, where players seem to be working for each other, and we're crafting some decent chances in the last 2 games against Bournemouth. Because I'm really happy with the attacking in the last 2 games, right? In the second half of the last 2 games, I think it's been really, really good. First half, not so much, but then first half we nearly scored as well, twice, right? So today against the league champions. So I'm not going to just brush that under the carpet and pretend it didn't happen, because it did happen, right? I also don't, you know, when you look at what's happened in the league so far this year, also, let's not forget, as if it doesn't fucking matter, and I'm just saying this, I'm putting it out there, let's not forget what he inherited. He's had a striker available for 3 matches. Fulkrug was fit to come on as a sub against Wolves, the game that Evan Ferguson started, that everyone, all the experts are saying, you got to start a striker. Look, he's just played for Ireland and scored. He was crap, right? He's played, he's played Fulkrug at the end of the game in the second half, and then Fulkrug came on, made a massive difference last week, and lo and behold, he's not fit enough to start today, and he kind of alluded to it in the pre-match presser, Potter, that he'd need to be checked because of how did he do? How did he come through that last game? So we can't actually. I can't say with the hand on my heart that he's fit to play. And that's the kind of thing from Mike, play a fucking striker, right? Well, fine, Mike, if that's what you think, but Potter ain't going to think like that because striker doesn't equal goals. We had Antonio for half the season. He scored nothing. Right? So last 3 games, he's had a half fit. He's had Evan Ferguson coming back, played 75 minutes for Republic of Ireland in a lackluster game, and then he's put him in and started him against Wolves. He was terrible. He's brought Fulkrug on, who did a little bit better, but not that great against Wolves. He looked like fish out of water, really, even though he did make a chance against Wolves, if you remember, right? It was a header again, a chance out of nothing. And then against Bournemouth, he was brilliant when he came on. And I think that was probably the right thing to do, was to bring him on in the second half when the opposition were tired rather than start him. What's the thing about, what's the hang up on starting a player who ain't quite fit? Why do you want to do that?
Yeah, no, look, I understand that side of the argument. I do. I still would have started Fulkrug.
Even if he's not fit against a great defence like Liverpool, who are bashing people all over the place.
No, yeah, look, I get it. I don't know. It depends on what level of fitness we're talking about, Gal. If you're talking about just a bit of match fitness, and I think the only way he's going to get match fitness is by playing games. So that's the reason why.
This is the comment that I think is just rubbish. I'm sorry, Ernest. I completely disagree with you. As it stink of Moyes. Sorry, really?
Right. Anyway, as I was saying, I do understand that side of the argument, but maybe it all depends on this level of fitness. Here's another question I've got. A question I've got for you actually as well, right? So we're saying, right, we can't blame Potter because, I know a lot of people are blaming Potter.
Let me just put my cards on the table before you start, right? I am not saying Potter is absolutely the answer, right? I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is, I was quite happy he joined us. I did start to lose faith a little bit a couple of weeks ago because I need attacking football as well, especially at home, right? I need it. Away is a different thing, especially against the league champions. To me, it's a different challenge. And the away fans are really forgiving, usually, other than Wolves. They're really forgiving. So it's the home fans that bother me. The home, that ground is crap without attacking football. So especially in games where we're playing a team we should beat, and I include like Forest in that. They're Forest, right? They're not they're not Newcastle. They're not Arsenal. They're Forest. Yeah, we should be looking to win that game, Chris, right?
Yeah, but they're a fucking good team, though, Gareth Forest. They play as a team, right? They're not a team of individuals. They're a proper fucking team. But going back to my point, right? Okay, so just stop with the comments for 2 seconds, right? We talk about Potter, and he hasn't really had a fit striker to play, right, since he's come in.
Yeah.
So what's the deal with Evan Ferguson? Whose fault is it that we signed Evan Ferguson? Because we could have signed someone else other than him, right? That in theory could have played up front. So that for me is a huge error because I would imagine that's got to be a Potter deal. It has to be. It's his player.
Well, yeah. I mean, the way I look at it is that was last chance saloon to get a striker in. We weren't signing a striker other than him. I mean, even that geezer that we had over from Holland, where we had the deal all done. I forget his name.
Robbie.
Just didn't want to pay the money for him, did we? And that was a done deal, right? That was a done deal.
Why was it last chance? I mean, fuck me. There must have been.
Sullivan.
Players.
Listen, Potter had been here 5 minutes. Sullivan's got a track record of over 15 years of this shit. Who do you think I'm going to blame? Is it going to be Potter?
No, but you can say, well, why the fuck have we bought Ferguson anyway? What's the point? What's the logic in bringing him in?
Well, the logic is
I brought him in.
I think he might have thought he was a player he left behind, and he ain't, is he?
No, you know why I'm asking the question though, because to me it makes no sense. Because as I said before, 3 months of being at West Ham now, he's not actually been injured specifically during that 3 months. He just lacks match fitness. So why is he not at that point now where he would be playing? So I'm sorry, you got to kind of question why the fuck did we bring him in the first place? There's no logic behind it, none.
I think basically he's got a memory of him. He's the one that gave him his chance. He's brought him across. We know, for instance, it's what I said. When he got signed a new contract, it's full of arrogance. He didn't want to play, right? That might be true. It might not be, but it certainly seems it because he doesn't look over committed when he's on the pitch, does he? And I think he's found a different animal. If I'm guessing, right? I think that's what he's found. So you just got to say, I don't blame anyone for that because no matter who you sign, Chris, it can turn out to be a dud. It doesn't have to be, especially in the January transfer window when people don't let good players go for nothing, do they?
But to be that bad, I mean, he's been a catastrophic failure for us since he's come in.
But Brighton, if he was any good, Brighton would not have loaned him to us. They would have played him themselves. They need goals.
Yeah, but then equally at the same time, I think Brighton also were happy for him to go to West Ham on the basis there was an obligation to buy him, right? So they must have thought that there was a player there. Because
no, Brighton didn't want the obligation, right? We wanted the obligation.
Because they wanted to keep him. So they must have thought that there's still something there.
Yeah.
But what I don't like I say, we'll never know. We'll never ever fully understand this, but it just doesn't make sense to me at all. The whole Ferguson deal doesn't make sense. I don't know what it is with us in January windows. Fuck me. Last year,
we should say it. Yeah. He only signs if there's a danger of going down. That's the only time he does it, because he's done it like twice since he's been here. Gary says, Gaza 80 says, full Krug on the subs bench means he can start. Well, it doesn't, does it? I mean, you might put a player on the bench who's near in fitness to give him minutes last half an hour or something. But honestly, did you see the brutal defending that Liverpool were doing early in that game? They were taking no prisoners. They were fucking smashing into people. I don't want a player who's just coming back from injury to be smashed into by those big fuckers, those centre halves.
I want him to be starting against Southampton.
Listen, if he's ready, I want him to start. Of course I do, and I think he will be ready. Then, there's no danger against Southampton. He's not going to get kicked to pieces by them, is he? But Liverpool, they're quite brutal the way they defend, right? It was better when they're a bit softened up and he comes on later in the game and the geezer nearly scores, right? So it swings and roundabouts. Do you want him to start a game and get dominated by defenders and then go off tired and knackered and battered and bruised, or do you want him to come on when the defense is tired and get a chance, right?
No, of course not. I just want to see him. I mean, look, again today, I felt that he came on too late in the game. So you're trying to get his fitness back up again. We've been sticking him on for the last 15 minutes. That's not really going to do a great deal. I think you've got to be giving him at least half an hour of games. Then he might be in a position where he can start games. But 15 minutes here or there is not really going to do much, is it?
But I've never seen a manager, honestly. I've never seen a manager given who's just been given so little time and no patience. I mean, even Lopetegui wasn't treated this badly, I've got to say. He's 12 games in, and after those games, he had a serious injury crisis. And for the last half a dozen, he hasn't. Maybe 5 games, I think he's had a full squad to choose from. And I think that's when the temperature started ramping up. If you look back at the fixtures, it was all going well, and then we beat Arsenal away. And then after the Arsenal away game was the one where it all kind of turned on its head, right? Because we were all delighted. I was pissed, and everyone was living the dream. We beat Leicester. We rolled Leicester over, right? 2-0. It was a walk in the park. People came back angry from that game. And then it built from there, because the next game we played Newcastle at home and we got beat 1-0 just before they went on to win the cup final against Liverpool. They're a good side, but we lost 1-0. People got really angry after that. And then we drew away to Everton in the last minute, right? They got an equaliser, nearly nicked it actually, but we should have won that game, really. It wasn't a bad performance, actually quite a good performance. But because it was Moyes, I think that the anger got even more. And then finally, the straw that broke the camel's back was going and losing to Wolves, who've just beaten Spurs 4-2 and have beaten quite a lot of teams lately. Then people started demanding his head. So we went from Arsenal, and then 4 games later, people were demanding that he be sacked.
Yeah, I know. It's mental. It is crazy. I don't get that myself. Like I said, I'm absolutely not Potter out at all. No. I'm just trying to call it as I see it in terms of what he's brought to West Ham since he's come here. And I think really it's just about showing up the defence, which is why for me, I'm absolutely patient enough to say, like, I would be happy to see him after, say, 6, 8, 9, 10 games starting next season. Then I can start judging him. Not yet.
No. Surely he deserves more than that. He's a West Ham manager, right? I mean, this is the thing.
What do you mean deserves more than 10 games to start on next season?
No. I think he's got to start next season strong, and he's got to have a good summer, and he's got to have a good transfer window. This is on his head now, and he's going to be accountable for it from the summer onwards, right? He definitely is.
You can't judge him now, basically. You
can't judge him yet, in my eyes. I don't think I'm being fair if I judge him now, right? I started to have doubts at Wolves because I thought it was starting to be a trend, but the last 2 games have told me that he does know how to use attacking players and actually cause another side harm. Of course he does.
Well, and here's the thing, Gal, as well, right? So a lot of people are saying, "Oh, yeah, his record was really shit." Look at Brighton, look at this, look at right. Okay, so all right, fair enough, right? You can look at that, but
I think to his interview last week though, where he said Brighton was a development team and West Ham are not.
Yeah, but I also think that you kind of need to. Okay, there may be a situation, right? It could happen hypothetically. It could happen that history could repeat itself, right? I hope it doesn't. Okay, but I also think there's a lot of managers that have some kind of dodgy records that actually become very good. I mean, not being funny. Look, when we took on David Moyes, he fucking just got Sunderland relegated. He done an awful job over in Spain. He was awful. But all the Moyes lovers, he went out and won the fucking Conference League for us, and he got us into Europe in a few seasons on the bounce, right? So I think it's unfair to judge Potter right now based on on history. I do think it is. The fact is, he's manager of West Ham, Gal. He's manager of West Ham, and if we're proper supporters, we have to get behind and support him.
You've got to give the West Ham manager a chance, unless it's all about you being right. You know, if you're one of these people, there are people like this about who's like, once I've decided he's no fucking good, I don't care what he does, he's shit. He's got to go, because otherwise they're going to be really embarrassed if they're proven wrong. I can tell you something. No one gives a fuck if you're proven wrong. And that's why I don't care. I'm just going to go with my own instincts on this. And I don't think it's fair to do it at the moment. That's my honest opinion. I don't think it's fair.
Yeah, he might be wrong, but don't judge him now. Judge him 10 games into next season. He
might be rubbish. He might turn out to be utter rubbish, in which case we'll say so when we think the time's right and we've judged him and given him a fair crack. But he ain't had a fair crack yet. Yeah, he's had 5 games with a fit squad, 3 games with a half-fit striker. And the first, God, he lost his striker in Somerville after 45 minutes, didn't he? I mean, he's hardly made any excuses. He got a bit touchy in a few post-match things, but he's hardly made any excuses for what he's inherited so far, honestly. And I admire him for that. And I would honestly, I tried to support Lopetegui. Even Moyes, I tried to support Moyes until it was just clear that he was doing these things that were just repetitive and were just dragging me down, and I just couldn't take it anymore. But even now, I've calmed down over the memory of Moyes, right? Because I can see now the wood for the trees, and he did some good things for us. I don't hate him at all, not at all, right? Yeah. So look, I think you've got to give a manager a chance. We were talking about Amorim earlier. Now he ain't Amorim. I'm not pretending he is, but we know Amorim is not a crap manager. He's a good manager, and we know that he ain't going to be successful unless Man United give him a chance. And he can bring in his own players and play his own style, right?
Absolutely. No, I completely agree with you. Completely agree with you. He needs time. Like, he needs time. I'm not one to say that I'm happy with how West. I mean, mate, seriously, we go week in, week out to these games, and we've been, it's a lot of effort to go out and watch this.
I think Darren's winding me up here. He could start with Ings though.
I don't have people. I'm winding you up.
You lose a player. Yeah, I know. Oh, he's called a striker. He's got striker written on his contract. I don't know. Yeah, I just want to be patient, Chris. I want to be patient. I want West Ham to do well, and I don't believe in being angry, forcing myself to be angry over something that I'm genuinely not angry about. Right? That's all.
Well, I'm not angry after today.
Thanks, Bruno.
Quite the opposite actually, because I thought off the second half display alone, I was really, really pleased.
I know.
I just thought, for me, that gives me a glimmer of hope, thinking maybe Potter's kind of cracked it a little bit now, that he knows how we can go out and attack teams potentially. I don't know, because for me, there's 2 areas where Potter, I think he needs to figure it out. The midfield, for sure, the midfield dynamic he needs to get right, and he also needs a striker. If he can get that right, that balance, then I think that having that balance between defending and attacking suddenly will start coming to fruition. I do. Yeah. He just needs to work out that midfield and the striker. That's it.
By the way, people, wait until the end. I've got a treat for you at the end of this video. You'll love it, right? But there's a response of the night. There's a response of the night on here, right? Bodger says, if my sister was male, he'd be my brother. Not nowadays, Bodger.
So
very
true,
good, Obsidian. It's so sarcastic. I love it. Right. This is the thing, right? Gaza, I think, we've all got our theories about who should play where and everything. I'd like to see Kudus played in the middle, Bowen on the right. I don't know, I don't know. I think in many ways, he already knows who's moving out. I don't think Alvarez will be here next season for a start. I think and I do think he's trying to put some of these players in the shop window still, so that he can get a fee for them. That don't include, obviously Jared. Definitely not. But we've all got our theories on how the team should play and whether we should play a striker or not play a striker, even if one of the own fitters. Even that just now put Ings up front. He's a striker. Well, he ain't really anymore, is he? He ain't a Premier League striker, is he?
I'll tell you, I do worry though that Potter seems to rate JWP a lot more than I do.
I think he rates him as one of the best that he's got in the middle. That's all. I don't think he rates him. I think he rates him as one of the best he's got in stock, because he's a choice of. He's a choice of Soler, JWP, Souček, Guido Rodriguez,
Paqueta as well,
and Paqueta. So and today he played the best of the best three of them are Soler, Paqueta, and JWP. Right, Guido's not in it, and Souček ain't in it against a team like that, is he?
What about Alvarez? Because I said before,
I would play Alvarez. I would play Alvarez.
I would
like
play
him.
exactly. So this is my point, right? So for me, if I was the first thing I looked at that midfield today was, I said to you, that's going to be our undoing a little bit, because I kind of feel that we need to have that defensive midfielder in there. If we had Alvarez playing there and we had Soler and Paqueta just in front of him, that for me would give me a bit more kind of positive thoughts about how we would have performed today. But I just don't understand I don't know what JWP offers apart from the odd set piece once every 2 years or whatever it is. You know what I mean? That's what it feels like right now.
I think
on as well. Pace is absolutely
yeah, 100%. I think the biggest mistake that anyone's made in transfer market over the last couple of seasons has been Moyes turning down the French bloke that Tim chose. You know, what's his name? The midfield. Yeah, Fofana. We should have got him. He would have been the answer. He had a blinder against Arsenal, didn't he? And he said not good enough.
There are so many players that we've had the opportunity to sign, but we didn't do it for whatever reason.
But yeah, I'm totally with you. We all know what we need to see in the middle. But you know, when he plays that combination of Souček, Ward-Prowse, and Alvarez, which was previously completely dysfunctional against for Moyes and for Lopetegui, that was an unusable midfield. At least for him, he organises them in such a way that they're functional, but they've all got deficiencies. It's like Alvarez is completely one-footed, and he can only and he can't see what's behind him. It's the same fault as what JWP's got. Not very good at monitoring what's going on behind him. They've both got that deficiency, and then you've got Souček who can't pass, and he manages to get him to corral him into a midfield that's loosely functional. That's quite an achievement. I mean, they're usually just shit when they play together, and I think when you blend all their different deficiencies and their pros and their cons together, probably what you got there is the best of a bad bunch.
I don't know. We just need to make changes in it. That's the real priority for me next season. Is as all season. What's your theory on Alvarez not playing? I don't know. I mean, if it's an injury situation and maybe he's not quite fit enough, then maybe he would have come on towards the end of the game just to shore things up a little bit. I don't fucking know. But maybe he just doesn't rate him, which is weird for me, because I kind of feel that actually, he's the only kind of what you would classify nowadays as a CDM in our whole team. So I don't understand that one, in truth. I know that he's prone to getting cards now and again. Yeah. But I would start him. I genuinely do like Alvarez, because he gets stuck in. He adds a bit more fucking bite in the middle of the park, and that's something that we lack, in my opinion. So I don't get that one. Totally. Can I just say, I've taken most comments with a pinch of salt, but the one that was on there before the show started that said he's taken us to fourth from bottom, I thought, oh dear God, I mean, that's like ignoring everything that's gone on, all the mitigation, all the injuries, the fact that he walked in when the team's confidence was on the floor, the damage that Lopetegui did to the squad, and you're just saying you've taken us to fourth from bottom after 12 games. We are 32 games in. There was 20 games before he arrived. So you could say that from where he arrived to where we are. You could say it's an objective fact. No one can deny it, right? But he didn't cause it. He's not the root cause, is he? No, of course it's not. It's a combination of everything this season. And you've also got to take into consideration that when a new manager comes in, he's got to try and implement a new style. He's got to get used to the players have got to get used to him. There's so many fucking things that are going to kind of take time to get into place, right? So absolutely, this is the whole fucking season, and the board as well, by the way. Honestly, I'm sick and tired of those wankers. I really am. Yeah, no, I totally agree. And the new director of football, David Sullivan. I like this comment here. I've been a fan since '77. I love West Ham. And if the move bullshit with world-class football came with owners, so this is basically the owners saying we'll get world-class football in a world-class stadium, like crap. Yeah. But you know, this is the thing. They should never have said any of this crap. You know, no, I think this is so many. I mean, obviously, a lot of fans are kind of really riding off that, saying, "You know, where is it? Where is it?" Right? And absolutely, because they promised it, and we moved away from our fucking spiritual home, right, to take that. Yeah, we did. So I get that, but I just think the reality is that we're never going to get that so long as they're going to be at the club. Unfortunately, do you reckon Steve Tiley's? They do. We all think that. There's anyone in the comments or watching who thinks otherwise, right? Do you think Steve Tiley is going to come true? I'll personally put in my money on him scoring against Forest, his old team, and
helping them to not get in the Champions League. But I do actually like Forest, and I'd like to see him get in the Champions League. So it'd be with a heavy heart. But when we're playing them, I only care about West Ham. I just think that's the way football works. It's the unwritten rule of football, right?
Yeah, I can't see him ever breaking that record, mate. I just can't.
It's coming home, Chris. It's coming home. Play over as calm as CDM. I thought he said calm as CDM. He can drop in. Yeah, look, I mean, he's been a liability for big parts of the season, and he's got a little bit better lately under Potter. He has looked a little bit better when he's played that role where he's covering the left hand side and the left middle. I think is what he's covering. Everything that's in front of him, right? That aside, he's been pretty diabolical. I mean, you remember the Chelsea game earlier in the season where he was playing as he was splitting the centre halves. I mean, it was just comedy, wasn't it? He's had a terrible season.
Was that him or was that?
No, that was him.
Rodriguez. I'm trying to remember that now.
No, that was him.
And Rodriguez played that role as well. Let's not forget.
Yeah, that didn't work either. But it was appalling. And he's been caught out so many times. He fell out with Lopetegui. He fell out with Moyes. I ain't blaming him for either of those fallings out because they're probably very annoying managers, right? But the fact is, you don't get a chance in a normal job to go and slag your manager off without getting sacked, do you?
No.
Really? By the way, if you started a new job and you were sort of doing your best with what you had, with what they give you, and then someone sent the boss an email having a rant saying how you shit, or someone online saying how you shit, and your boss saved you because he said, Big Dave told me to sack you, you're shit. Would that feel right? Because I think that's basically the equivalent of what's happening to Potter at the moment. People are judging him without knowing the situation or him having a decent chance, right?
I think with football nowadays, Gal, there's so much money involved in this, right? So much money. It makes people kind of make these knee-jerk decisions.
Impatient,
yeah, exactly.
Yeah. I mean, when I think back to the demise of Lyle, which I thought was heartbreaking back in the day, the demise was quite long and drawn out, right? As well it should have been because he was a club legend. I really hate swapping managers every 5 minutes because it doesn't feel like West Ham to me. I mean, there's a lot of things that don't feel like West Ham to me, but that especially, we usually keep people around for a bit longer than that.
Mate, up until the kind of Harry era, fuck me. I mean, we had one of the best records, didn't we, out of all the professional clubs in terms of, the amount of managers that we had. But it's ever since kind of like, I don't know, sort of 2000, whatever. It's just, we've had a load of managers, haven't we? We really have.
Yeah.
I just think that is like, modern football nowadays. It is. It's very impatient, very impatient.
Let me just update Danny on my smoking. Yeah, I'm on day 4 now. Gave up. I've passed the anger now. I'm not really. It might seem angry, but I'm not that angry. I'm actually in quite a good place at the moment. So thanks for asking.
Danny's on like, what is he now? Danny must be on like about 3 months now. Or something.
Yeah. That's right. Last time we saw him, he'd given up. Are you given up yet?
I don't smoke, girl. What are you talking about?
Are you giving up? Oh no, of course you don't. You gave up a while ago, didn't you? So Fulkrug and Guilherme should have come on much earlier. Yeah. I mean, look, you can say it's a mistake. You can say it ain't. I don't know what state Fulkrug was in. And it's the sort of thing I said to Ross when I was watching it, Steve. I just said the team's actually playing quite well. We're creating chances. Maybe that's another reason he didn't bring him on. But when he brought him on, he nearly scored, right? Yeah. So what was that? That's the same thing, isn't it? Yeah, that's the thing. That's my point with Bodger. If you're playing the CDM position, that's where you play. He wanders too much. He does wander too much. He really does, and he needs discipline, and he ain't got any. Perfectly suited to a slower pace league. That's why I think the Spanish are interested in him, like some quite big Spanish sides. And the same as Mavropanos, who's going to go for 15 to 20 million to 16 to 20 million to the German side. I'm saying, Chris, 50 quid. Bosh. Right. When Bowen was sent through 1-1, whatever wouldn't have happened. But I think he usually scores that. I think it took him by surprise. I'm just saying, against teams, we always know this, right? When we play against a good side, you get a half chance, you must execute because that's exactly what they're going to do down the other end, and you're going to get punished for it 10 times over, right?
But he could have squared that Sasu foul. He could have watch it back.
I will watch it back. I will watch it back. So, Gary, to be honest, I mean, the thing that just made me laugh, the whole thing, it was entertainment. It was Robertson losing his shit with Van Dijk. I love that. He was just really stamping his feet and waving his fists and everything. Brilliant. Gary and Chris, what do you reckon? Ariolo, AWB, Kilman, Tadibo, Emerson, Alvarez, Soler, Paqueta, Kudus, Bowen, and Fulkrug for Southampton.
Yeah, spot on. Spot on. I
Yeah.
wouldn't make. Do you know what? That would be my team. That would be
I think Southampton is the perfect game to start Fulkrug. I agree with Chris. Yes, if he's fit, start him. Yes, it's at home. I think Potter must have enjoyed the lift in the crowd in that last home game. And he hasn't played much football today, so he ain't going to have any bruises or anything. He looks fit when he comes on. Yes, start him.
Do you know, maybe right. If maybe give 45 minutes to Fulkrug and 45 minutes to Ferguson. Just play a striker because we need a focal point up front. So I would absolutely play that team. I would. That's
where you're wrong, Steve. You see, I don't do that. I don't do that because I flip between smoking and non-smoking. But every time I swear it's the last time, I've given up about 30 times. I'm actually on a massive health kick, so I'm actually going to start running again. Believe it or not, I went the other day, and
that was when you told me you were broken. Yeah,
I was crippled for 3 days. I really was, but. I was supposed to go again this morning, but Adam was working, so we're going to go on Tuesday morning. You know what I did? The stupid thing I did. It was really stupid. I fucking raced him the last 100 yards back, right?
Yeah, that was stupid.
And honestly,
how old your boy? 22, 23?
Yeah, 23, and I was in fucking bits. My legs were killing me by the time I'm burning.
That's ridiculous.
I woke up in the middle of the night with a bad back. It was awful, Chris. Awful.
I'm not being funny. More for you, right? Why are you trying to raise a 23-year-old? 23-year-old. You ain't going to beat him, Gal. As much as in your mind you think you will.
I'd be nose ahead. Right? And he done the old I've dropped me AirPod trick, and he had to stop and pick up his AirPod. He knew I had him on the ropes, right? So yeah, he said he was fatigued from a game 8 days ago. Well, again, I can't comment, Mike. It might sound fishy, but it might be true, eh? Might be. Thank you. Listen, I'll be optimistic until there's a time to not be optimistic. That's just the way I'm built. I love West Ham, and I believe you should support a West Ham manager until you can't support them anymore. Like Lopetegui, right? And,
yeah, I'm with you on that. I am. Yeah, 100%.
Yeah. I don't believe it's good for us as a fan base to turn the air toxic and just slag the guy off all the time when he's nowhere near getting sacked. If you're honest with yourself. He's going to get that chance, whether you like it or not. So you might as well get behind him.
You know, it's the one thing, and I've brought it up on a few occasions, and I spoke to someone this week that is heavily connected with West Ham, and what we were speaking about was how disconnected the fan base are. And that's such a shame because, you know, we should be united as one. You know, that's really, it can be a differentiator. It can be a game changer for the team because believe it or not, right, and I know this for a fact, players hear what fans are saying on
they do.
And when you've got fans,
it's what you told me the other day. You spoke to someone, didn't you? And it was I won't say who, but just say what they said.
Yeah, no, it was just basically they hear it, and and this is the thing. You think you can just turn up right after a bad week and start slagging off players. Now I know we pay good money to go and watch West Ham. I get that, right? And we have a certain expectation, a certain set of demands we expect from our players. But if you are literally shouting and slagging off a player, do you not honestly think that's going to affect their confidence? Of course it is.
Especially if they're a youngster.
Yeah, and that's what I don't understand. Now, I've got nothing against slagging a player off after a game, right? But during a game, when they're in the heat of the moment and we need them to put in a performance, no. You know, if I feel they haven't tried hard or, you know, whatever, then yeah, fair enough. After the game, I'll say it. Not during the game. Definitely not. And I don't understand the mentality of people like that. I mean, you might say certain things, but not loud enough for the players to be like literally calling them out saying, oh, man, how much you're a pile of shit. No. I mean, I would say that after the game, but not during the game when he's about 10 yards in front of me. I don't understand.
And it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter how much they earn. They could be very wealthy, multi-millionaire, right? It doesn't matter. This is their career. This is their job. It's what they do for a living. This is where they get their self-respect. And they turn up at work, you know, and the fans are just giving them all sorts of abuse. They know the manager can hear it, the coaches can hear it, the telly can hear it. You know, it's embarrassing, isn't it?
It's really, really embarrassing. I'm actually ashamed of these people sometimes because I do hear it around me at times. And
me too.
Come on, seriously, just fucking get on with it.
We're going to finish in the end. I've got a treat, and I haven't told you about it. I've got a treat. I'm going to tell and told you about it, right?
It's not be a Peppa Pig the sequel, mate.
No, it's very good. It's not Peppa Pig the sequel, but what's this, Glenn Pearson? Make sure you do a 15-20 warm down. Yeah, I did warm down and I did warm up, but you can't sprint at my age. You can't. I'm 55, and honestly, the legs ain't been running for probably 6 months at least. And so I went from, you know, not running to running. got to start again because you always have to, which is miserable. And why? What got into my stupid head to start racing him? I don't know. It was all my fault. And he responded. That's the problem. And he's much taller than me, and he's got a longer stride. So it's like for every two of my steps, it's one of his, isn't it?
I would have liked to have seen this race. I must admit,
it was top quality, Chris. When I move on, when I go. You know what I mean? Right, let's have a few more comments. With the players, Steve Tiley, we should be beating Southampton by at least 4-0. Again, Chris would agree with you. I would just say, let's just beat Southampton. I'd like it to be impressive. I'd like it to be a goal fest.
What do you mean Chris would agree with you?
No, because you like to see, because I was quite happy the way we rolled Leicester over and you were a bit miserable about it.
Rolled Leicester over is probably over-egging it slightly.
It was easy, wasn't it? It was easy.
Well, it was.
And then we took our best players off.
Whatever. Yeah, I
give them a rest.
No, look, I just think. All I want to see, like I said, every single week is a performance. That's it. A real team performance, working hard for the badge, going out there and trying. That's it. Don't expect anything less.
Absolutely. That used to be is all that West Ham fans looked for, was that a player gave 100% effort and they would be forgiven of being a bit shit. And the prime example of that is Ian Dowie, who got runner-up to Hammer of the Year, when we all knew he was shit, right? We all knew he was shit, but no one tried harder than Ian Dowie. Where is that? Why don't that count for West Ham fans anymore?
It doesn't. Football's changed, though, Gal. It has changed. And it's funny you mentioned that.
Actually, worse in my eyes.
I was watching one of Robert Banks's videos the other day. It was actually the season that Dowie was at West Ham. He came back. Then you're right. He didn't. I mean, he worked his bollocks off, that guy did.
Absolutely did. Yeah. But again, for that, see, Suchek works his bollocks off. Yeah, he does. He's not very good, but he works his bollocks off. See, in the past,
me up when Dowie missed chances, though. Fucking hell, he didn't.
He was crap, wasn't he? He was crap. But again, you wouldn't start singing his shit or start digging him out individually, would you? It's like you just say to the person that you're with, you say, he's fucking shit, isn't he? Right? That's all you'd say. That's all you'd say. Right. So look, we're going to finish now. So thank you, all you lovely people in the comments for your chat. It's been a quite therapeutic. It often is on a Sunday night. But I've quite enjoyed it.
Positive, mate. I mean, I think West Ham fans will come out positive and just back the back the team for the remaining games of the season. Let's see how it goes.
What you got to lose? I'm perfectly happy to back him and then just say I got it wrong, or happy to say I backed him and then for other people to start backing him as well. You know what I mean? There's nothing. I never nail my colours to the mast. I'm always happy to change my mind if I have to. Right? Why not?
Oh yeah, I do it all the time as well. But I think you take it game by game. You have to.
Yeah.
Football.
But it's the end of the show, Chris, and I've got something that that I've been waiting to play for a while. He's kindly given me access to all of his back catalogue. I really like him. He cheers me up. He puts a smile on my face. So we're gonna play this before the outro. Until next time. Anything else, Chris? Are we done?
No, not for me, mate. I'm looking forward to Southampton next week. Genuinely, I am. Before I go, I do want to say one thing. I want to say happy birthday to my boy, whose birthday has been this week, but he's not been with us because he's out in Lanzarote at the moment. So
happy birthday, Fred. You lucky git away in Lanzarote with your mates. Brilliant. Beautiful thing. It's a beautiful thing, Chris.
It is.
Anyway,
too quick.
I hope you enjoy this. It's he wrote this himself. He's a cracking bloke. See you soon. Come on, your hands.
Born in the East End of London, and I'm West Ham through and through. Now you might follow some other team, well, I guess that's up to you. But I'll keep blowing me bubbles and wearing the claret and blue, 'cause I was born in the East End of London, and I'm West Ham through and through. Now some folks follow the Arsenal, Tottenham and QPR, Millwall, Charlton and Chelsea, but I don't know who they are. Orient, Palace and Fulham, and I don't know about you, but I was born in the East End of London, and I'm West Ham through and through. West Ham through and through.